We're back at it, lads and ladies. I'm in the mood for more Dexter. Season 4 is a fan favourite. I'm a Dexter fan, and I've got to say, from what I've seen so far, this is my favourite too. We've got a new serial killer called Trinity, and despite being the most interesting killer of the series, I am not happy about him being played by John Lithgow. He saved Bigfoot from being hunted, and then brought him back home to his family in the forest.
You take care of yourself now, okay?
Okay.
He's a sweet and kind man. I refuse to believe that he's secretly a killer. Well anyway, let's get stuck into this season.
It's already over.
Trinity has by far the most deranged motives for why he kills so many people, and we'll be finding out about his motives later on, but it certainly does make for an interesting character for Dexter to pursue this season. He's already got his hands full now that he's a father to baby Harrison. Yeah, his birth happened between seasons, and I feel kind of robbed that we didn't get to see that go down. I'm not talking medically speaking. I didn't want to see him physically entering the world, but it would have been fun to see how Dexter handles it. Would we have seen the expected emotions when seeing your son for the first time? Never mind. They've also moved into a new house together, so that's nice. His lack of sleep trying to balance a double life, while at the same time looking after a little life, is causing him to make mistakes at work, which for the type of work he does, is a very big problem.
Wrong notes, wrong blood type, wrong defendant, wrong case. That's what you call a momentary mix-up in a murder trial?
These problems affect everyone else he works with, causing Quinn to lash out at him for destroying his case, and letting a clearly guilty killer go free.
So is your sorry gonna keep Gomez from pounding somebody else into the next world?
Jesus, chill out, Quinn.
No, Deb, he's right.
At the Trinity crime scene, an attractive reporter lady gets her hooks into Quinn, using her charms to get the inside scoop. Her name's Christine, and she's sticking around in the show. Lundy's back on the scene sniffing around the Trinity crimes, so Dexter has that to worry about too, as he's the biggest threat to Dexter being exposed. They test the blood at the crime scene, and it turns out to be old blood from a different woman who was also murdered in this very same bathroom way back in 1979. Trinity was the one case Lundy never closed, and that explains why he's back. He's called the Trinity Killer because he always kills in threes. We get quite the unsettling glimpse into his very dark mental state, as we see him punishing himself with scalding hot water in the shower. The Guerta has a new La Pasión con Batista, but they have to keep it on the lowdown as to not cause drama at work.
Get to work, gentlemen.
I'm going to her.
La pasión, la pasión, la pasión.
Dexter finishes off the episode with a very sleep-deprived kill of the murderer he let get away earlier, but then his lack of sleep causes him to crash the car on the way back home.
That I remember.
Dexter is dead from the car crash. Not actually, but he might as well be dead, because his killing tools and his freshly murdered victim are still in the car. But we get another fake out, where it seems like he's about to be arrested.
We found something in your car. A bag. It says pediatric on it. Thought you might need to take it with you.
Due to his concussion, he's on doctor's orders to stay here at the hospital, but that's not going to work for Dexter, as he's got a body to find. He examines his totaled car, and finds that his tools were undiscovered. The body, however, is nowhere to be seen. Remains to be seen. Dexter goes back to the disaster scene, with Ghost Dad here to offer some words of obvious advice, and redundant reflection on the situation.
Dizzy? I'm fine. Unless you can't find Benny Gomez. Those bags aren't here, Dexter. What did you do with his body?
Can we get Sam and Dean Winchester on the show? This ghost needs to be sent to the Shadow Realm. In other words, can you kindly f*** off, Ghost Dad? Throughout the episode, we see Trinity stalking his next victim, and it's kind of intense, wondering when he's going to strike. To show how cold he is, even after bumping into her son, seeing that she'll be leaving behind a family, he still feels like taking her life. He approaches her in a friendly manner to help with her groceries, but he has the ulterior motive of finding out where she lives. Dexter, looking for the body, goes back to the kill site, hoping that in his semi-conscious state, he still had the good senses to store the body somewhere safe, rather than take it with him back home. And while checking this kill site, he realises that he stored the body in a boxing bag suspended above the ring. Deborah's frustrated at Lundy being back because she was having a good time being Anton's GF, but now her feelings are all mixed up. He keeps things professional, saying that he's only here to work, but this treating her mean only makes her more keen. Like a cat on heat, she takes her sexual frustration out on Anton the second he walks through the door.
Doesn't work that way.
Rita's mad at Dexter for ignoring the doctor's orders and driving around while he's recovering from his concussion. Also, he's been so preoccupied that he's neglecting his duties as a husband and father.
The past few weeks, you have not been the most present father and husband. Remember, we're a team here, right? Okay, we work together.
He sees this conversation as an opportunity to score some points, just so she'll be more forgiving of him the next time he disappears for several hours. He's also failing to blend in as a regular guy, pushing Aster into the pool, just like another dad did to their kid.
Aster, what's that?
Oh my God! Dexter! I'm so humiliated.
If I was Dexter right now, I'd push her in again, just for being a moody brat.
I'm so humiliated.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it.
Trinity has his victim lined up, this time making her jump to her death, and if she doesn't, he'll go after her family.
Just push me!
Doesn't work that way.
Strangely, he then grieves over her body, calling her mummy, and then spreading some of his actual mother's ashes next to where this woman's laying dead. Quinn's been on this being nice to Dexter campaign ever since the time he snapped at him about messing up the court case. Dexter keeps on rejecting his friendship, but today Quinn's stepping it up a notch by giving him very expensive tickets to a Miami Dolphins game.
Well, I can't go, and I asked myself, who's a friend that I could give them to?
When Masuka shows envy, Dexter immediately gives him the tickets. On the subject of Vince Masuka, I want you to picture the kind of car that you'd imagine this kind of guy drives. I'm guessing that the picture in your mind is pretty damn close to this. Or maybe the pussy wagon from Kill Bill. He also has a very funny line when they're testing the fall trajectory with some dummies at the crime scene.
I put her in a short skirt so that we can see her panties while she's falling.
Dexter's been keeping a close eye on the drummer boy, who Aster has a crush on. Dexter believes that he's the one who's been vandalised in the neighbourhood. He goes to try and scare some sense into him, but the neighbourhood watch are out on patrol, and they chase Dexter away.
It's watch and report, assholes, not watch and chase. This is so humiliating.
Quinn confronts Dexter about his refusal to be friends, and it's here where Quinn comes to the conclusion that Dexter just can't relate to being a regular cop. He's just a nerdy science guy. Quinn blows off some steam by having a skin-to-skin cuddle with Christine. Dexter figures out that the one causing trouble isn't the drummer boy, but his dad, who's been crashing out due to the mum dying and not being able to afford the bills and such. It's not really that important, let's move on.
I'm not touching you.
Today, Dexter is a very happy man because the wife and kids are going on the trip, giving him the whole weekend to himself.
Enjoy your freedom. Go wild.
Right. Go wild.
Say goodbye, Dexter.
Goodbye, Dexter.
Goodbye, Dexter.
Now, don't get me wrong, having the occasional break from family is nice, but as we know by now, Dexter's hardly ever home. When he's not working, he's off out all night murdering someone. So when does he want family time? Why even get married? And more importantly, why have a kid? On his time off, he's not taking a break from work, because that's the one thing he actually loves. He's looking into a trigger-happy cop named Zoe, who shot her daughter and husband dead, claiming that a robber did it when they broke into her house. But Dexter suspects otherwise.
But Zoe always hits her targets. Just ask her husband and daughter. I'm feeling recharged already.
Trinity sees a newspaper about Lundy being back, looking to finally catch him. And feeling cocky, he deliberately bumps into Lundy, allowing his keen eye to notice him and take note of Trinity's description and where he's heading to on this bus.
Hair gray, eyes blue. Something in them.
We also see him punishing himself again, this time intentionally getting his ass kicked. Again, what a strange and interesting man. Zoe's selling her house, and Dexter takes a look around, pretending to be a potential buyer. But really, he's looking for evidence, finding a piece of latex glove that got stuck in the garbage disposal. And when Dexter tests it, he finds traces of gunpowder and blood. Zoe might be a crazed murderer, but she's also very switched on, finding out that Dexter is a blood spatter analyst and warning him not to stick his nose in her business.
3319 Meadow Lane, right? I'm letting you off with a warning. Drive carefully.
Wanting to set her up for a kill, he provokes her by requesting more files regarding her case. He then baits her into a bathroom, saying that he's going to reveal what he knows. She puts him up against a sink and threatens to kill him, saying that she'll make it look like self-defense. But he knows all the angles where it won't look like self-defense, as blood spatter patterns don't lie. She ultimately walks away, feeling confident they would believe her story over his evidence. He waits at home in darkness for her predictable attack, and the two scuffle before he manages to inject her. Her reasoning is that she felt suffocated by her life, feeling tied down and controlled by the constant pressure of being a mother and wife. Well, boo-hoo for you, but Dexter's gonna do what he came here to do. The episode ends with Lundy and Deborah taking a lovely midnight stroll, because surprise surprise, they're back together again, but this time behind Anton's back. And as everything seems to be going smoothly, and he promises that he'll never leave her again, she gets shot, and Lundy gets shot dead. Dexter and Ghost Dad are searching Lundy's apartment, looking through his notes. Maybe the guy who shot him dead and hospitalised Deborah was Trinity.
Lundy devoted his life to hunting Trinity.
He left word for me he'd had an interesting encounter 2 days ago.
Anton pays a visit to help her feel better, but her guilt is getting too much, and so she confesses to him.
I slept with Lundy.
I thought you were happy.
I thought I was too.
LaGuerta also confesses that she's told the captain about her relationship with Batista, feeling that eventually the news will get out, so it's better that it comes from her. Batista is annoyed, feeling that they had the situation under control, but she went ahead and revealed it without his blessing. The captain's solution to this is to make LaGuerta transfer Batista to a different police station.
This is bullshit.
The current suspects of the Lundy killing are a criminal couple who are linked to an ongoing killing spree referred to as the Vacation Murders. The boyfriend winds up dead, leaving only Nikki to bring in and be interrogated for what she's allegedly done. Rita's getting really tired of Dexter, refusing to sell his old apartment, and she sneaks in there to make sure it's not his secret crack den. He plays it off as just being a safe place where he can keep his dad's rifle. But to her credit, she knows how good of a liar he is, and puts him on a verbal warning.
You should sleep here tonight. When you're ready to come home, we have a lot of work to do if this marriage has any hope.
Dexter catches Trinity taking out his next victim. This time it's a friendly security guard, bashing in his skull with a brand new hammer that he bought only a few hours ago. And while selecting this hammer in the shop, he couldn't have made himself sound more suspicious.
I work alone. So much work. But I have to finish what I started, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Dexter follows him home, and is very surprised to see that he's not some loner who lives in a shady apartment and keeps weird trophies in a case. He's a family guy, living a double life just like Dexter, only he seems to be doing a better job at it.
He's like me.
Don't touch my sister.
Trinity's leading the choir, playing into the stereotype of every serial killer being into Christian hymns and loving Bible stuff. That's not me attacking Christianity, it's just that 99% of psychos in media are portrayed in this exact way. So send your anger their way, not to me, you Jesus-loving freak. Dexter's tracking his every move to make sure he knows the man he's dealing with.
Up at 6 a.m. Breakfast, 7 a.m. Work, 8:30. Study session, shaping young minds.
Rita is checking them in to couples therapy because of Dexter still keeping the apartment and all of the distant lover / bad father stuff. Going really well, guys. You've been married for all of 3 months and you're already going to therapy. Surprisingly, the therapist slightly sides with Dexter, suggesting that Rita was naive to think that Dexter would change his behaviour. He's always been this way, and his mental condition, be it high-functioning autism or whatever he has, making him resistant to change and letting go of the past. To be fair to her though, he keeps dangling the carrot, saying that this time he promises to change, and then going back on that change the very next day, if not the very same evening. Dexter makes the most hilarious attempt to make it up to everyone by giving them all gifts. Cody gets a Nintendo DS, Asta a DVD player, and then for Rita, a brand new bread maker. Because she keeps failing to get enough bread when going grocery shopping. Here you go Rita, have a dishwasher too, and how about a shoe polish kit? I keep going to work in grubby shoes, and quite frankly that's your fault. Seriously, how funny is it that the kids got fun things to enjoy, whereas she got something to make her a better homemaker?
We're always running out of bread.
We're always running out of milk. Did you get me a cow too?
Dexter gets his own way in the end, with Rita giving him the garden shed, so he can still have a secret room and doesn't need to travel back to his old apartment. What do you reckon guys? Do you think he's now going to sell the place, or are we still going to be having this same conversation for the rest of these seasons? Masuka is all hyped up because he's got the DNA results from the Hammerhead crime scene, but Dexter feels confident that Trinity isn't on their police database. But Masuka does find out that the DNA of the ashes is related to the DNA of the killer. Keeping tabs on Trinity, Dexter gives himself the alias of Kyle Butler. I'm just going to call him Dexter. And he offers to help his charity of building new homes. He also gets to know his son, who at first seems like a happy fella, but we soon find out the truth of how he's really feeling beneath the surface. Deborah's still convinced that Nikki is the one who shot Lundy, but Nikki is a crying mess, tired of protesting her innocence.
If you say that you saw me kill Frank Lundy, then you're the liar. You are the liar!
Batista and LaGuerta tell the captain that there's no need for a transfer, as they've officially broken up, stating so on a legal document so that there's no conflict of interest within the PD. The captain says okay, but if you even so much as sniff at each other, you'll both be fired. The biggest event of this episode is Dexter going to Trinity's house and finding his sister's ashes. Trinity catches him holding the urn and completely loses his cool.
Don't touch my sister.
Forgive me, I'm so sorry.
Because Trinity is a nice guy, when he's not bleeding people out in bathtubs, he makes up with Dexter and then gifts him some tools, which includes the exact hammer that he bashed the security guy with.
See you at the next build then.
Wouldn't miss it.
You can call him anything you want, but the fact is he's not a man at all. He's a monster.
A gruesome opening, quite literally, as they've cut open this gator and found a severed arm. This arm was swallowed post-mortem, so clearly someone murdered this woman and then dumped her body in the river. We'll come back to who did this in a moment, because right now it's rambling time. I don't wish to harp on too much about Dexter constantly repeating himself, but even now in season friggin' 4, he's still narrating his thoughts about secretly being a killer and Rita being none the wiser.
Actually, guys, it's been a long day and I'm kind of...
Go easy on him. He's only one person.
That you know of.
I'm your wife. I want to know what's going on inside you.
I don't think you do.
Okay, we get it. Can you please stop spoon-feeding your audience? I'm not a dumb baby, I'm a big boy. I'm able to understand what's going on here without you giving me friggin' flashcards all the time. Okay, so the severed arm. It belongs to a woman who recently did a photo shoot with a very strange guy who likes his women to look like demons or be heavily pixelated because he doesn't want to be demonetized. Yeah, he's a real sick freak. So Dexter kills him. But it turns out he got the wrong guy.
At first it looked like Farrell, but this is airtight. We got camera footage from the toll booth of him heading over to Alligator Alley. We got DNA evidence, we got everything.
Will this mistake change Dexter's behaviour? You bet it won't, but the suggestion is nice. The highlight of this episode is Dexter going with Trinity to cut down some trees. There's some character revealing moments where Trinity can't start a chainsaw and very much dislikes that Dexter was able to with ease. Clearly he likes to be in control and takes failure very personally. On the way back, Trinity accidentally hits a deer and rather bizarrely is squeamish at the idea of finishing the job to ease its pain, handing Dexter the axe so he can do the right thing. And I can already hear you screaming, because I'm screaming it too, and so is Ghost Dad, that the biggest right thing to do here is to jam that axe right into Trinity's head. Ah, shit, you missed. Well, I'm sure that not taking him out now will have zero consequences later on. Turns out Trinity wanted this wood so he could build a coffin. And to be fair, it's a pretty nice coffin. No idea what his intentions are for it, but yeah, he did a good job. Dexter's side mission today is giving Cody a hobby to get into, and he chooses a familiar hobby, sailing. Is this interesting? No. But there is a funny moment when they go camping, and it's Dexter's turn for telling a scary story. But because he's about as creative as an abacus, the only horror story he comes up with is a real story from work, which due to the horrific nature of the crime, he nearly scars the kids for life.
You can call him anything you want, but the fact is he's not a man at all. He's a monster. For countless years, he's roamed the countryside, killing the innocent, leaving behind bits of his dead sister.
I'm so excited about today's surprise, I practically sprang out of bed.
As well as being down in the dumps about his erroneous kill, he's not too happy about the progress they're making in tracking down Trinity. So he realises that killing Trinity needs to be a top priority. Dexter pays him another visit, and we see how controlling he is over his family, criticising his son for polishing his precious car in the wrong way.
I got it, Dad. If you've got it, I wouldn't have to remind you. There are two ways to do things. Why not choose the right way?
He tells Dexter about a building project that he's travelling to over in Florida, so Dexter comes up with an excuse as to why he needs to go there too. Rita, having the spine strength of a yellow belly pick and mix snake, is like, yeah sure, no worries. You can abandon your family again for a whole weekend. Why not? Go have fun. I love this scene of Dexter pestering Trinity to let him come with on the road trip, faking a near mental breakdown and saying that he's got a heavy confession that he needs help with.
Oh, come on. I knew I could count on you.
On a pit stop, Trinity angrily insists that Dexter shares his secret, and so he does.
I'm gonna get into my van and just leave you here to fend for yourself.
Killed a man.
You killed someone?
You, of all people, act appalled.
Due to this confession, Trinity plans an impromptu surprise for Dexter. A surprise so exciting that he does this adorable old man dance.
I'm so excited about today's surprise, I practically sprang out of bed. You ready for this?
So ready.
The surprise is that he's taking him to Trinity's childhood home, where he witnessed his sister bleeding out in a bathtub. She slipped over and cut herself because she caught Trinity watching her and naturally got spooked by it. So this explains why he's constantly punishing himself. He was giddy to show Dexter this, because now they share a secret together, and finally he doesn't feel so alone. His relief puts him in a weird, oversharing state of mind, deeply disturbing a family at brunch, before Dexter shuts it down.
I showed you the bathroom where my sister died.
Kids don't need to hear any more about it.
Bob! They should learn to speak the truth.
I think they know how to speak the truth.
We're leaving. What about your tournament?
These folks want to enjoy their family time alone.
Dexter sends Rita some photos as quote-unquote proof of his business trip, but Rita is too busy having fun with the kids and the newly single man who lives next door. After a few glasses of wine, he gets a bit flirty, but Rita, being a loyal yellow belly, denies his advances. This won't seem very important now, but Christine has been bugging Deborah for an interview about what happened to her, seeming to take a personal investment in the details of this story. Before Dexter heads home, he sneaks into Trinity's room to do what must be done, but he's disappeared. Dexter then finds him at the house project, where he's standing atop the building, ready to jump. I suppose that now he feels unburdened by his secrets, now is a good time for him to end his story. But then Dexter saves him, only because he wants his death to be by his hands.
This isn't how you die.
Let go!
Last thing to mention is this scene, where Deborah takes her shirt off to show Masuka her scars, and his reaction is what you'd expect.
They're just tits.
But they're yours, perky, perfect.
She wants to know the exact height of the shooter, and it turns out to be a different height to what Trinity's height is.
My height, approximately.
I think I skipped over the part where Nikki was found innocent, but who really cares about that detail? We want to know who done it, not who didn't done it.
Kyle, perhaps it's time for you to go.
I think I should stay.
Jonah's smashing up Daddy's beloved car, as he's tired of the abuse back home. He invites Dexter over for Thanksgiving, in the hopes that Trinity would be on his best behaviour in front of company. This means that once again, Dexter has to ditch on his family for a while, so that he can have dinner at two houses. Deborah turns up though, with her +1 being Masuka, the only other person in the PD who didn't have any plans. And helping out in the kitchen to replace Dexter is Elliot from next door. Yeah. They pop over to use Elliot's spare oven, and that's not the only thing sparking up, as his flirting continues, and Rita's loyalties can only be stretched so far, so she doesn't immediately back away.
I am so sorry. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah, I don't either.
Masuka sees this, and typically speaking, he would find watching this to be hot. But this particular voyeur session involves a betrayal on a friend, and that's just not okay. Back at Trinity's house, he tries to play it off as no big deal when Jonah shows him the smashed up car. But as soon as Dexter leaves the room, he teaches Jonah a lesson by breaking his finger.
That's for my windshield.
The other telltale sign for Trinity being a psycho, not that Dexter needs another sign, is that his daughter's bedroom is padlocked on the outside. And when Dexter talks with her, she sees an opportunity for him to rescue her, and she'll do anything to return the favour.
Rebecca, you're 15. I don't want anything from you.
At the dinner table, tensions reach breaking point, where Jonah refuses to give thanks to Trinity, leading to a massive brawl in the lounge. Jonah smashes the urn, the daughter gets launched across the room, and in the heat of the moment, Dexter steps in and goes for the kill. But because all the family have Stockholm Syndrome, they don't allow Dexter to finish the job.
Thankful to be out of that house.
You showed Trinity the monster in you. You'll see you coming now.
On a more pleasant note, that turkey looks bussin'.
And take the brightest stars up in the skies and place them in her eyes for me.
Dexter now uses a shipping container to store all of his psycho killer stuff. A much more sensible place than the shed in the back garden where his children play. He follows Trinity and observes him eyeing up his next victim. Pretending to be a cop, he then lures the kid into his van. This isn't going where you think it's going. Dexter somehow loses his trail and can't get to him in time as he drives away with the kid.
Kyle, I don't appreciate being followed.
I'm calling the police.
If I so much as see a police car, the boy pays the price.
Jonah says that Trinity is going to a teacher conference over in Naples, which I'm now finding out is a city in Florida, and not just Italy. And if you just learnt that too, that means that I taught you something, and you should subscribe, for the purpose of education. Trinity insists on calling this kid Arthur, because that's his name, clearly looking to replicate a memory of when he was a kid, using this kid as a stand-in. Deborah finally agrees to the interview, and that's because she wants to get Christine into a room and find out what she knows on the Lundy shooting, asking Batista to watch the feed and look out for any signs that Christine knows more than she's letting on. She uses the crime scene photos to rattle her and question how she was able to get to the crime scene so quick.
I like to roll out of bed and hit the gym early. I was on my way there when I heard the scanner.
Bullshit. She's lying. I spoke to Christine at your crime scene. Hair made, full makeup. No way she rolled out of bed at 5 a.m. looking like that.
We then cut to Trinity, who gets an urgent call from Christine, who calls him Dad.
Dad, I really need to see you.
You just did. Thanksgiving night.
Hi, Dad.
Yeah, the reveal of Trinity being Christine's dad actually happened at the end of the Thanksgiving episode, which was last episode, and I have somehow forgot to include that into the script. So my surprise here is strange and amateur. The kidnapped kid, Scott, starts to sympathise with Trinity, seeing that he's reliving a painful memory. And maybe if he plays along with this reenactment, Trinity will let him live. A nice idea, but then Trinity puts a knockout drug into his ice cream, so it seems that won't be happening. Dexter eventually tracks down the bomb shelter where they were hanging out, but he's too late. He then finds concrete residue on the floor and figures out that Trinity is heading to a construction site to bury Scott alive. En route, Trinity meets up with Christine, who confesses to knowing about his crimes, and to protect him from Lundy, she shot him dead.
I shot him.
What?
It's okay. I
I made it look like another crime spree. Vacation murders.
Dexter gets to the site in time and pushes Trinity back, saving the boy before he drowns in concrete. Unfortunately, however, Trinity has escaped.
Dexter. Wow, okay.
Christine isn't budging, unwilling to admit that Trinity is her dad.
I told you. My mother got pregnant. It happens. I never met my father.
Selfishly wanting to take out Trinity himself, Dexter plans to frame a decoy killer, finding a guy named Stan Beaudry who fits Trinity's profile. The real Trinity calls him, asking what his game is. Why hasn't he called the police? Dexter responds by demanding 50k cash, otherwise he will call the police.
I'm a school teacher. I don't have that kind of money. Take a loan out on your house, sell your car. I really don't care.
The captain calls the Guerta and Batista into his office, as there the Passion was caught on CCTV, meaning they lied under oath, committing a felony. So yeah, their days are numbered. The Guerta plays the race card and also the gender card, which is usually a deadly combination that makes most employers crumble to their knees, begging for forgiveness. But the captain is old school and holds his employees accountable.
So what exactly is your beef with me? My gender? My race? What?
Your arrogance.
Dexter takes a few seconds out of his busy schedule to focus on his marriage counselling, but then he gets a call saying he needs to come back to work. Knowing that she only has a minute of his attention, she admits to him that she and Elliot kissed.
I was waiting to tell you. In therapy. Right, so let's just go to our sessions.
No, I told you, I can't.
The crime scene he's called to is for a victim named Kyle Butler, and this makes him realise that Trinity is out looking for him. This innocent victim caught Trinity breaking into his house, and so he got killed to keep him silent. Dexter knocks out the next Kyle Butler and waits for Trinity to arrive, but he barely gets in the door before dipping, spotting a custom greetings card with this Kyle's face on it.
Not much of a resemblance.
At least he's not looking for Kyle Butler anymore.
Dexter gets to work planting Stan Beaudry's DNA, travelling to 2 separate locations, and then of course taking him out, so he can't deny being Trinity. How the hell Dexter has the energy for all of this is beyond me, and to still have enough to go home and clobber Elliot across the chops.
I guess I deserve that. No, wait. I know I'm an asshole, but just wait a minute. I got caught up in a moment.
Trinity spots Dexter when he comes looking for him at the arcade, so he follows Dexter back to the station. Using some clever sleight of hand, he steals a visitor's badge and makes it past security to go find where Dexter is. And this moment's right here, where they lock eyes and then Trinity towers above him, completely removing Dexter's control of the situation, is truly a top tier moment of this entire show.
Hello, Dexter Morgan.
When Deborah finds out that Trinity is Christine's dad, she goes in for the arrest, and Christine finally confesses to being the one who shot Lundy. Knowing that it's the end of the road, she switches off her own engine.
What happened? Quit, shield.
Trinity says, "I'll keep you alive, so long as you stay out my way, and forget that you know who I am."
If I were you, I'd give up vigilantism. You're not very good at it. Goodbye, Dexter Morgan.
Dexter tells him, while trying to talk to Rita on the phone, and arguing with Ghost Dad, so a collision was bound to happen.
Hey! Gotta go!
Dexter waits for Trinity to get back from the bank, and when he finally knocks him out, he sees that he's closed all of his accounts. He goes to continue his routine with Trinity, but sees that the police are looking for him, as the guy whose car he hit has reported him. He tries a diplomatic approach, hoping the fellow police will side with him, but they don't.
Okay, buddy. We're taking you in.
So much for diplomacy.
When Dexter gets released, he rushes back to the van, but Trinity has already woken up and disappeared. He's at home right now, freaking out about Dexter stealing his money, saying that he's going to sell everything that's valuable to the family if he doesn't find him.
What the hell is going on? What did you do?
You're lucky you don't pull the fillings out of your teeth.
Deborah's been in contact with one of Dad's old flings, for reasons that aren't very interesting. But one of her leads brings her to ITK's old house, and that's when Deborah realises that her dad and ITK's mother once hooked up. She goes to the captain to confirm if Dexter and ITK were brothers, and he admits that he's known all along, but chose to honour her father's wishes by keeping it under wraps as to not destroy their lives, digging up the horrible past of what happened to Dexter's mother.
What the hell am I supposed to do with this?
You keep it to yourself.
Her other job is looking into the Stan Beaudry case, as they no longer believe him to be the culprit. They interview Scott to see what he remembers, and he draws the logo of Trinity's charity. Wow, say that 5 times fast. And with this lead, they dig up a young boy's heavily decomposed body.
Looks to be wearing pajamas.
They found Scott Smith wearing pajamas.
I'll call Judge Morales at home. Have her get a warrant started.
Trinity looks up Dexter's address, and this is a move that Dexter was anticipating, saying to Rita that they should go on that honeymoon they've been talking about, telling her to get the earliest flight possible and he'll meet her there. The kids are going to Disneyland with their grandparents, and it seems that everything is going according to plan. But before Dexter can go chill on his honeymoon, he needs to find Trinity. He goes to his house, but he's not here, and his visit is very poor timing, as the police arrive to raid the house. Luckily, Dexter has his badge, because otherwise him being here right now would be damn suspicious. Dexter finds the smashed windscreen of Trinity's Mustang, and he knows the body shop where he's going for the repairs. We see Trinity driving around the city, looking happy as can be, and then we see that somehow Dexter snuck into his boot, waiting for the car to break down so he can jump him.
Hello, Arthur Mitchell.
Do you mean to tell me that Dexter's been in this boot for the whole day, no doubt cooking alive in the Miami heat? Well anyway, his obsessiveness to kill Trinity is finally going to pay off, and there's no way he's escaping this one. Because of their complicated relationship, where on some level Dexter relates to his pain, he shows him some respect by playing him his sister's favourite song and turning on the model train to give him a nice final memory before turning out the lights. His obsessiveness, however, is about to bite him on the arse big time. He comes back home, expecting Rita to have already left, but her stuff is still here. She left a voice note saying she had to come back home because she forgot her passport, and it seems that she never left the house again. Dexter rushes to the bathroom, finding baby Harrison covered in blood, and Rita dead in the bathtub. He had several chances to take out Trinity, and failing to do so has given him the ultimate penalty. He realises that being Dexter is a lifelong curse that afflicts everyone around him.
But it doesn't matter what I do. What I choose. I'm what's wrong.
Wow, that was a great season. Who knew John Lithgow could play such a convincing serial killer? I really hope you enjoyed this recap, as it's been a pleasure to work on, and I appreciate you waiting for it to come back. The names you see here are the people helping me to stay afloat, and in return, they've been given early access to my videos, and some of them on the voting tier over on Patreon were the ones who voted for Dexter to return. I also voted for Dexter, because man do I love talking about it. Well, that's all for now. Thank you, and see you on the next one.